Hey, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren, I'm your host, of course, and today I have a couple special guests. I have Lloyd Cappuccio and Scott Smith. They've been on before, but we all three have something in common. We've all had the MasterBuilt Gravity-Fed Series charcoal grill and smoker, and we're going to discuss those. They've done some unique mods to their grills, and we're going to discuss that. I'll be right back with Lloyd and Scott.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
Hey all, it's Darren, and I want to take a second to talk to you about the high-powered torches from Grill Blazer, the grill gun and sous vide gun. I was lucky enough to be a part of this project long before it was a Kickstarter, and I love them. If you're looking for something to sear your food within seconds, check out the sous vide gun. If you're looking for a torch to light your grill and have it up and cooking within 5 minutes, your lump or briquettes, check out the grill gun. It can also light outdoor fire pits and your fireplace within minutes. Check it out, guys, at the link below and get 10% off your order. Check out the grill gun and the sous vide gun by Grill Blazer. Welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Podcast. I am Darren. I am your host, of course, and today I got a couple special guests. They've been on before. You know them, you love them. I got Lloyd Cappuccio and Scott Smith. We're going to talk about something that we both have had, or all three of us have had before. I don't have one anymore, but Scott and Lloyd both have the MasterBuilt Gravity Series charcoal grill and smoker, and they've modded theirs out. I wanted to get on and talk about it. I've had the McLemore father and son, John McLemore of MasterBuilt, on, and we talked about this about a year and a half ago when it first came out. And it's kind of revolutionary. It's something that it's a kind of a cross between, it's got the controls like of a pellet grill, but it also has the charcoal factor in there. And it's kind of built around the more expensive gravity fed charcoal grills that you see a lot of the higher end barbecue competitors have. So, but this is kind of down in the price range that everybody can afford it. So I wanted to talk about this because, like I said, Scott and Lloyd have kind of taken theirs to the next level. And first of all, Lloyd, welcome.
Thank you, Darren.
Lloyd, I like your hamburger background and your
thank you.
Your nice shirt there.
Thank you.
I guess
Big New York Jew. That's what used to be my Facebook name until they said no, I had to use my real name.
You're also known as the Kosher Dosher, so you have a Kosher Dosher YouTube channel now. You have a Kosher Dosher blog. You're on all the Facebook cooking groups, just about. You're on all the sous groups, of course. So check out the Kosher Dosher on, pretty much just type in Google like Kevin does. Just Google Kosher Dosher and you'll find a lot of articles and interesting stuff that Lloyd writes. And Scott Smith, welcome, Scott.
Hello.
And Scott, he's a nobody. He's somebody that, we kind of adopted. He's in a lot of the food groups with us, and we chat a lot. And, we all have a lot of the same interests. And like I said, the MasterBuilt Gravity Series, and I'm going to kind of share my screen real quick just so you guys in watching us here, if you're not familiar with them, this is what they are. This here is the 1050, which is the larger of the three models that they have. And if you see, it's got the little, this is the charcoal bin here. And the way they work is the charcoal gets fed from the top here, and then the fire is built on the bottom here. So the gravity fed series is the charcoal kind of burns down this way instead of in a normal charcoal grill. It's either over here and the fire burns down into the grill. This is opposite. The fire is here and then the charcoal kind of feeds into the fire. And what that does, it gives you a little bit more control, especially of the smoke if you're using this as a smoker, because the smoke actually will get passed through the fire and it gets a lot of the bad stuff that's in the smoke burns out through the fire there, and it actually has a much cleaner smoke burn in there. But if you can see my mouse here, the fire's right here. You have these two little sliders. So the it kind of goes in the bottom. The fire and the heat goes in through the bottom and kind of works its way into the chamber and around, and it goes back out through the back. So one of these, will let the fire and the smoke in through the underneath the bottom of the grill, and it comes out through here, and it kind of just circles around inside the grill and comes out the back. So it's a very unique design. Like I said, it's built on some of the larger, more expensive gravity cookers that are out there and have been around a while. But the engineers at MasterBuilt put this thing together, and one of the MasterBuilt's not known for having a very super expensive unit, so they wanted it to be something that could be at Walmart's or Home Depot's, and every man could afford it, and they did. They built these probably as cheap as they could, and the 560, this is the model that they first came out with, was pretty much bare bones. And the one thing it does have, though, it does have a Bluetooth Wi-Fi controller that actually can control the fan and the temperature, similar to a pellet grill. So they did put this thing together. This one is $500, which for the technology that's in it, it's definitely something that wasn't around before. Even the cheaper pellet grills didn't have the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. They just strictly had some kind of PID or a regular controller that tried to control the temperature. So I had one for a little while, and like I said, Lloyd and Scott have one now, but they went a step further and actually did a lot of modifications to there. So let's talk about when you first got your MasterBuilt Gravity Series and you took a look at it, you unboxed it. Let's start with you, Lloyd, because I think you were the first one to
I did
do all the mods. So what did you think about when you first got it out of the box?
It was very cheaply designed, cheaply made, poor metal. Had some issues with mine. When you first buy it, I end up with the first generation. You don't know by the serial number you're getting. So there was 5 evolutions of them. I got the cheap one. So I had a lot of complaints with the manufacturer. Just cheaply made. I had latches that didn't work, screws that wouldn't screw in. I had to write the company several times. You can't pick up the phone and call them, which I'll never buy another. I will never buy another MasterBuilt product because of the warranty issues. You can't communicate with them on the phone. You got to fill out this fucking form. Excuse me, got to edit that out. You got to fill out this form. That's a pain in the ass. And if there's a problem with their server, you got to do it over and over and over again. It took me, over 8 or 9 months to resolve the issues I had with the first generation that I bought. So, but cheaply made, but for the price point, it's an okay smoker.
So, Scott, let's see what was your experience? Because I think you both bought them off of Amazon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. The metal is fairly thin. Mine was bent when it came out of the box, but I straightened it out. I modded mine immediately. I never even put a fire in it before I modded it. And
me too. Did the same thing.
From Lloyd's experience, but I went a little further and didn't even use the factory controller. It's still brand new, sitting in the drawer. I went the fireboard route, and I'm real happy with it now. I put stainless steel grates in it, and I did all the LSS and who was the other guy?
Well, cloak.
I did the clot. I did the whole Clots Elite package on mine, and then I did a few things in LSS. I think it was a mixture of both, but
and that's the thing I want to talk about a little bit, because I bought the 800 series, which is in between the 560 and the 1050. I think both of you guys have the 1050, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so the 850 or the 800 is actually kind of like in between as far as size goes. But the reason I got that one is because I didn't need the full size one, but it had a griddle that went with it, but it had everything that the 1050 had in it. So it wasn't as low grade as the, let me share this, as the 560.
Yeah.
Let's share that again.
I modded mine also. I didn't start a fire in mine.
Yeah,
I
so
got
this is
every
the
mod.
800 series. So
Yeah.
the 800 is pretty much just the same as the 1050. It's a little bit smaller, but it does come with a griddle, and it has this little thing on the bottom here that you can take out. When you're using it as a griddle, you take this part out and then put the griddle on, which I used the griddle a couple times. It wasn't that good because it had hot spots and cold spots on it, but everything else was pretty much the same as the 1050, except it was just a little bit smaller. But and I got it at Walmart. It was, on a shelf. I went and took it off the shelf and brought it home, put it together. But I had the same experience as you guys, that, there was some bent pieces. There was a couple missing screws. There was some,
Oh, yeah.
and it took a long time. It was a dubious effort to put the thing together just because of all the many different little pieces that would run away from you. Well,
if Darren, even if I wanted to start a fire in it to begin with, I couldn't because the latch wasn't working. And like Scott, I bought all the mods first before I even started a fire. Plus, I had to get replacement parts from MasterBuilt, which took 5 to 6 weeks. Yeah. And I will say that for the price point, it's a good product. But I don't recall another vertical smoker that offered the same benefits as the MasterBuilt. I would have spent three times the amount of money and would prefer a better product.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're either
spent all the mods.
Yeah,
what's that?
They're either like $8,000 for a if you want a regular, like a full blown gravity fed.
Who makes a gravity fed vertical?
Well, they're usually like the custom. They're usually like the custom. Custom builders, and they don't have the controls on them though. They're strictly like made for wood, like a regular competition smoker. So they don't have the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth controller and a fan. It's usually just a regular but they're made out of like 1/2-inch steel and all that.
I wish Yoder is one of my favorites. Mac 2-star, Weber. Of course, I love Weber. I have a lot of Weber products. I wish they would have taken this concept and ran with it.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that they didn't know if there would be a demand for this type of thing, and most of them, MasterBuilt went in and said, build this thing as cheap as possible. When I had the McLemores on from MasterBuilt, that's when John McLemore was running MasterBuilt. The guys, his engineers came and said, hey, we want to build this gravity fed type cooker. And he just said, make it so I could sell it at Walmart. So I don't care what you do. That was it. They went into it, make it as cheap as possible. And they did. So they used thin metal. They used, they sourced everything from China, and the engineering behind it it's a great concept. And even now you've got the Char Griller has the same type of grill now. I don't know how they got around the patent. Maybe they didn't patent it right or something, but they came out with the same concept. But it's still they're both cheaper grills. They're not. You don't see anybody, like a Yoder doing something like this right now, because I guess they're still kind of waiting to see if it's something that's going to keep their legs, But
I love the concept, and I think you gave this analogy, and I'll repeat this analogy. And not that I have a lot of regrets. It's like you have a 20-year-old Honda Civic that's only worth probably about $800, and you put $3,000 worth of fancy wheels on it. That's what Scott and I did, basically.
Yeah.
Now I have all the mods. I mean, I got the firebox, I got the extended shelf, I got the smoke. Let's see, what's it called? Scott, what's the thing in the back that controls the smoke intake?
Yeah,
it's called. There's a name for it. But I have all the mods.
I bookmarked everything.
Hold on. Yeah, I got the extra rack on top. I have all the mods. It functions okay. I think the Bluetooth is poor. The app is poor. I've got so many connectivity issues. But again, for the price point, it's a good product for the price point.
So that's one of the things when they put this thing out there, they had the 560 first. And there was a lot of excitement. A lot of people, liked it, got onto it real quick. And it does put out some great food. That's the thing that I liked about it. And I knew the concept was going to be good. I kind of waited around a little while. I didn't jump on the first one because I try not to, because usually they come up with issues and they find things out when they throw it out there.
Right.
And that was the thing that with the 560, there was a lot of issues and quality control, but it's spawned a cottage business. This one here is LSS mods.
I have a lot of their mods.
They built their whole business around the mods for this grill.
I have all those right there. So everything you see right there on that screen, I got it all.
So I don't think they actually had a business until this grill came out, and they make a lot of money just selling the mods that, if MasterBuilt was smart, they would take all these mods and put them on their grill and just sell it as a pro model, and charge $2,000 for it, and people would buy it. And there's a couple of companies, I guess, that sell these types of mods. I'm not going to go into all the different ones, but like I said, let's just go into what you did. Okay, so the 1050 mods over here, Lloyd. So did you got everything that's on this list? So
easily. So I don't have the sausage hanger, although I'm considering it. I don't have the griddle shroud. I got everything else.
Yeah. So if you see, there's a lot of different parts in there that if you want this thing to last and function properly or function as it should, that you need to mod this thing pretty good. Now, like I said, the 800 that I had, I really liked the food that it put out. What I didn't like was it started rusting within the first couple months. There was when I put it together, I had to kind of bang things into place and try to find some screws that were missing, and it did sometimes keeping the control of the heat wasn't the best. Even though it has a fan in there, it would still fluctuate a lot because the metal was so thin. So there was just some things that I said, yep. I got one. I played around with it, but I go through grills like most people change out their hats. So I don't keep a lot of them. Just wasn't built. That's not something that's going to stay on your deck for many, many years. So it's not like, somebody's Weber kettle that, they'll pass down from generation to generation. It's cheaply made. It's not made to last forever, but it's a great concept. Puts out great food. Compared to a pellet grill, I think it puts out a lot better food. That you can get a better smoke flavor, and you got similar type of controls. That's what I liked about it. So what about you, Scott? How did you buy all these? And you bought some other mods as well, right?
I did the 1050 Elite mod package from LSS, and once I got that, I noticed that the firebox liner was only the lower half. So Klotz had an upper half liner, and then a lid for the top, the stainless steel lid for the top, and the additional gasket seal. So I got those from.
I got that.
And then I got the damper on the rear, which really helps conserve charcoal, because you don't have all that heat running out the back. You can throttle it back, and it'll run a whole lot more efficiently. Which
damper did you get, Scott? Which one?
I got the one from Klotz. The where is it here? It's called his 1050 rear vent slide.
So I would have gotten that one over the LSS had I known it was available, but I didn't know that. So I got the LSS one.
Well, that's the thing too. I know one of the things that when it first came out that was constantly breaking are those little sensor switches on the every door, the lid, the door for your ash basket, and the top door for your charcoal. Those things would break all the time. And then if they break, the thing doesn't work at all because it thinks the door's open. So the fan won't work. You can't control anything. God. So, I mean, it's,
well, let's talk about the cheap freaking temperature gauge in front. What a piece of crap.
Well, you really don't need that when you got the digital, but the digital doesn't work that well either. So
exactly. So I upgraded that for I think I bought one for the top of the line, most expensive one on Amazon for $20.
Yeah,
$20.
But like I said, when they put this thing together, John McLemore even said, make it as cheap as you can so I can sell it at Walmart. It's got to be, under $800 or whatever it was.
I would have spent
for the 560. It had to be under $500, so it was a $499. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. Like I said, if they actually built the thing right and charged more for it, people would buy it all day long because I like the concept. I mean, like I said, the gravity fed concept it's a winner. It works and it produces.
It's charcoal. It's charcoal.
It's charcoal, and the way the smoke passes through the heat, it really cleans the smoke up. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about waiting for all the impurities to burn off the charcoal and the smoke and smoking wood. I mean, it just produces a much cleaner smoke, and that's why people love the gravity, ones that are 10 grand. But there's a way they could have put this thing together, and they still could. But now they're owned by a multi-conglomerate company now. I doubt they will, because just the way their whole concept is to be at the Walmarts and Targets and Home Depots of the world. They don't want to be to sell something for like $3 or $4 grand. You're in the specialty barbecue restaurants, or you're a custom grill maker selling it on your own. Like Yoder's, you won't find a Yoder at a Home Depot or a Walmart. Yoder's are at a specialty barbecue store. They're $3 or $4 grand. Sometimes more. So I mean, but they last you forever. So
I avoided a pellet because I prefer the taste of charcoal. But now I'm kind of leaning towards getting a Weber, the Smoke Fire, I believe it's called, version, the second generation, because I don't trust the MasterBuilt.
Yeah, and like I said, the technology, that's getting into these grills nowadays, though, and this, like I said, I like everything about this grill except for the quality of that they put all the parts that they're just not quality. They could have took this grill and charged $2 grand for it, and they could have sold probably not sold as many, but they would have probably made just as much money because they would have made more money on the units themselves, and people wouldn't trash them as much.
It's less technology on it too. With a pellet grill, you've got the firebox, you got the auger that rotates. Right. On a vertical smoker, you just got charcoal and a fan.
That's it.
That's all they got. I mean, there's less moving parts on it, so that's why I'm kind of hoping that Yoder, MasterBuilt, Louisiana, the list is huge. Come up with your own vertical smoker.
Yeah,
with good technology, good metal.
Like I said,
give me a 10 gauge. Give me 10 gauge.
I liked the whole concept of it, and like I said, for the price, I mean, it's just like the old gas grills. Back in the day that you'd buy, the $100 gas grill at Home Depot. You knew you were only going to have it a couple of years because everything would rust out.
You're lucky.
Yeah, but I mean, people just buy them every Memorial Day, leading up to Memorial Day. You always see them go on sale. What's the gas grill? It's, $100 because, mine I've had for 2 years is rusted out already. I got to get something new.
I think about Weber. I have a Weber Genesis. It's my second one. This one I have right now, I've had 10 years. At about 6 years, I use it 3 or 4 days a week minimum. The inside kind of like burnt out. I called them, I wanted to get a replacement. They said, well, you're still under warranty. They sent me an entirely new upper half of my Weber for free because it was still under warranty. Well, so Weber, I love Weber's awesome.
Weber's gas grills are they're great, and they were probably but what happens is, the ones that are $100, like I said, MasterBuilt's whole mindset was we're just going to make it as cheap as possible so we can sell a boatload of them. And that's like char broiler, char griller, all those ones. You go into Home Depot, you look at the Weber's, you look at those, they're totally different. But the Weber is you're going to pay $300 or $400 more for it because
the warranty is amazing. You have issues,
and the quality is a lot better.
Quality is way better. I mean, I was using mine 4 to 5 days a week, all the time, every night. You know, they sent me a whole freaking upper top. The entire top was replaced after 5 years.
Well, even the Weber kettle is a lot better than some of the cheaper, crappier kettles that are out there. You know, you can have a Weber kettle for 100 years and it looks, you know, you clean it up, it looks brand new. But you get some of these other crappy, you know, Australian grill or whatever, you know, you see at Home Depot. The paint job on them is crap. It comes off, they rust out, and they fall apart.
Getting the parts also. I bought what the hell was it called? I bought a 5-burner stainless steel gas grill 25 years ago called a Duquesne. Was it a Duquesne?
Yeah,
I believe. Right? And the Duquesne. I couldn't get the parts. The parts were cost prohibitive. It's like, oh my God, what they want for the parts? I bought a Weber Genesis. Parts were easier to replace, cheaper, and better.
I think I put 3 sets of burner tubes in my Duquesne.
Yes. I did 2, screwed it, took it to the dump, bought a Weber.
But that's the thing, getting back to what you were talking about earlier, the customer service. You know, Weber customer service is excellent. You know, you got these cheapo companies, their customer service stinks. I mean, they know their product's going to break, so they got the cheapest. They got most of it's farmed out to India or China or Mexico. You can barely get anybody to speak English. They put you on hold, and like you said, you can't register for your warranty. They try to make it so hard for you to be able to file a warranty claim.
It's a call center that handles probably 50 different companies, and they have a script.
Oh yeah, right. Well, and it's like I said, it's just hard for them. They try to make it as difficult as possible for you to file any kind of warranty claim or get any kind of resolution. So, because what they're hoping you'll do is you just say screw it and you go out and buy another one, a new one of theirs. So
at least though, you could talk to a person. MasterBuilt, you can't talk to a person.
Right.
And I was telling him I was having issues with the temperature control. It was inaccurate. How do you know that? Well, I had to show them I have a ThermalWorks temperature probes. I had them placed all over. I took photographs. I had video. I had shown schematics how their probe was off, and they still didn't believe me. Had to write them another letter. I'm the guy who's got all the freaking probes. I'm saying your temperature sensor is freaking off.
They don't care. The thing's they're like, it only costs you $700, dude. Leave me alone.
Yeah, and you can't talk to a person. You got to send them a freaking through their website a warranty freaking.
So Scott, you went a step further, and you installed the Fireboard controller. Yes. So you took off all the standard Bluetooth temperature controller, and you installed the Fireboard, which I've seen a lot of people do that. So how much did you pay for the Fireboard itself? So that's adding another $300 or $400 to it, right?
Yes, because it was the Fireboard Pro that has the K-type connectors on it. And then there was a company on Etsy that made a 3D printed bracket that goes in place of the factory bracket to house it. I sent you a picture on it. But it's rock solid. It holds temperatures just, you can't ask for any better. I mean, I've saved graphs from it. It's just rock solid. I never had any problems with the switches, but mine has never been out in the weather, and it's never gotten over 225 degrees. I did the 350 degree burn in when it was brand new, but other than that, that's all I do is 225. If I'm going to see
not the weather
else, I'm doing it on something else.
Mine's not the weather either, but I've taken it all through the temperatures, of course.
Yeah.
Well, and I never had any problems with my switches either, but I've just from watching the Facebook groups and people who've had them, I've seen a lot of people. That's one of the things, especially on the first first Gen 1s, that was the biggest thing that they would just break. And once, like I said, once one of them breaks, it's pretty much useless until you get that thing fixed. And then they run into the problem like Lloyd had, where just trying to get them to send you a replacement part is ridiculous. But so how much did you pay? I know you can't speak to anybody. I know we heard that part.
Oh,
Lloyd.
God, it pisses me off. God,
edit that whole part out. So
no,
Scott, how much did the fireboard set you back with everything?
I'll have to look and see, Darren. I don't remember.
500.
Just guesstimate it. Just guesstimate it.
$500.
I know the fireboard itself is like 400 and something. So with the
at least, right?
With the bracket and all that, it's probably in the $500 range.
Probably $50, probably.
Yeah. So at least $500. Let's just say, on top of the, how much was all your other mods? Was it $1,500 all in? You think?
Oh yeah.
So you paid $800 for the grill and another $1,500 for all your mods. So you've got pretty much a $2,000 grill.
He's got all right, Darren, I gotta say this. I'm having some fun. So your audience will love me. He has a ghetto freaking barbecue. He's got that little freaking car going down the road with $3,000 wheels. It bounces up and down, but the car is only worth $500 freaking dollars.
The fireboard $300.
Yeah.
It only has 3 K-type inputs, but that's all you need. One is going to be dedicated for the grill temp itself, and it's a nice unit. You can point to which input you want to use for the fireboard drive, and that was another little, $10 or $15 kit, a wire harness I had to order to get it to interface in with the gravity grill, but it's been great. I love it.
So like I'm saying, it's if they would have took all these mods that you put in and initially put it in the grill, they could have built this grill at a lot higher quality and a lot, more efficient using a better controller, and sold this thing for $2,000 and still made some money and had a lot better product and had a lot better product. And they could have, but that's what I'm saying. They wanted to be cheap and we're going to sell 1 million of them. And then instead of, we want to build something quality and sell, maybe 500,000 of them. They still would have sold a lot of them. And because the concept's great, but they just went too cheap, I think. And a lot of people have these. A lot of people that are used to buying cheap ass grills love them, but I'm not that type of guy,
Neither am I. That's why my hat's off to Weber. Their first, the first pellet grill sucked ass. Basically, it wasn't a good grill. And what happened? They fixed the problems right away with the second generation.
Yeah, well, and you got to give them credit. That was something they'd never done, a pellet grill. They'd never had anything that used electricity before, All their grills were gas or charcoal. So they had something that they had to pretty much, they created their own software, for the controller. They had to build an app. They had to hook up with somebody to build their controller and all that stuff. So there's, it was a totally new concept for them. And, they thought they had it all nailed down. They just didn't do enough beta testing with true, real customers to
like you and me.
Yeah.
They Scott, they should have had one of us beta test their products.
Well, and not only that, usually when the beta testers are not the stuff that comes off the assembly line. So there's some things when you do a beta tester, just like this whole thing with the combustion ink, these beta testing units we're going to get, the ones that come off the assembly line are not going to be the same. They're going to be made a little bit cheaper. They're going to probably,
of course,
so I can understand that, but they tried to say that there wasn't any issues. Weber did when they first came out with that, but they kind of, eventually had to say, yeah, okay, we're going to scrap it and we're going to put something else out. But you won't see MasterBuilt doing that.
Well, one thing with the price point it's at, say the 1050 is $749. And then you start adding the mods. Well, if you're piecemealing those mods, you can fly it under the radar to CFO. So, so you get away with it rather than laying out $2,000 in cash to get it all at once. If you do it a little bit at a time, it doesn't get noticed as easily.
The only thing I'm worried about is that the base product itself is not well built. So it's going to start rusting out. You'll have your stainless steel, sleeve in your charcoal pit, but everything else around it's going to rot out. So that's the whole thing. Everything else is going to start falling apart and rotting out eventually. So, I mean, it's like putting a lipstick on a pig. You're going to get more life out of it than you probably would have without those. It's going to function better than it would have without those. But I think it's still not going to last anywhere near as long as if they would have put out a quality product from the beginning and made something, that actually was higher quality and worked better. So,
well, I live in the Northwest, it's the Seattle area, and it's
nobody
always
cares.
freaking raining. Well,
nobody cares.
Let me get to my point. I don't get mine out as often as I like because it freaking rains all the time. Mine's in my garage. I roll it out. I got a couple of things in my garage. Oh God. I roll it out when it's not raining. Okay. Stir it up. So this summer I'm hoping to use it more often. I have the Weber Genesis outside the backyard under cover that I use very, very often. So, well,
it rains a lot here too, but we also have a lot of humidity all the time. So even if it's not raining,
yeah, you do.
It's 80% humidity out here. So anything like that, any kind of just painted steel is going to start rusting out.
Dude,
eventually.
Did you see my shirt? where all New Yorkers go? Where all New York Jews go? Florida. My entire family's in Florida. Let me tell you something. I hear about the weather all the time. I'm like, oh hell no, I don't want to be down there. It's freaking hot.
That's what eats up these cheap grills down here. It's the humidity. It's not, they don't have to be out in the rain all the time. Just being out on my deck. That's why I got that. The M Grills M36 because it's 3/4 inch steel and it's even if it does start to rust, it's going to take it a long time to rust any holes.
I want the M36.
But like I said, I mean, I like the whole concept of the MasterBuilt. I liked the food it put out, especially. There's just a problem I had with the quality. That's why I don't have it anymore. It started having issues and I just didn't want to play with it anymore. And I moved on. I do have the Weber Smoke Fire now. I like that. It's probably the best pellet grill I've had. I've had 4 or 5 of them. I had a Camp Chef. I had a couple Traegers. I had the Traeger Timberline, which is their top of the line. Oh, yeah. And I like the Weber better. I mean, it gets hotter. I can sear on it. It's set up kind of like their gas grills with the flavorizer bars. I found that the software now works really well. I had never had any connectivity issues with it at all. The probes are very accurate. I've double checked them with all.
What's your go-to, Darren? You get up on a Saturday or a Sunday, the weekend, whatever. I'm retired, so every day is a Saturday to me. But you basically go out there and you want to fire something up. What's your go-to? You have a lot of units. You got the Kamado, you got the M36, you got the Weber, you got a lot of units. What's your go-to?
I really don't have a go-to. It all depends on how much time I have, what I'm cooking. Yeah, and if it's especially if I'm doing a video, it's what I want to showcase. But if I want to have fun and just smoke something, for a long time, I'll put it on the M36 because I can use that as a stick burner. I could use it as a charcoal grill. I can use it as a direct Santa Maria type because it has the charcoal basket that goes up and down. So I can do pretty much
it goes up. Oh gosh.
So I can do pretty much anything with that. But if it's, I want to sear some steaks real quick and I don't want to mess around with light and charcoal, I'll fire up the Weber. Same thing. If I'm going to be in and out of the house a lot and I don't want to sit there and feed sticks into the M36, I'll put the Weber on because I can monitor it and change the temperature from wherever I'm at. Right. And, that's really what I like about that because you know, people will say, oh, well, that's not really, smoking. It's like, well, dude, we're busy, I want to put a brisket on or a pork butt,
Yeah.
and I got to run to the store and do stuff. My wife doesn't want to go out there and look at that
No, of
thing.
course not.
So, I can control it. If I get caught up and I'm going to be a couple hours and it's, I can turn the, temperature down on it. I can put the smoke, mode on to make it, more smoky. So it's a lot more convenient. So, but, I use everything I have out there, but I
know you do.
I like the Weber for the convenience factor when I need it to be able to control it when I'm going to be running around. It does, I guess.
Right. I'll say this though. I think because I would consider myself, Scott, you, even Kevin, if Kevin's listening, although he's kind of been retired from cooking, all he does is sit in his mama's basement. Kevin, if you can hear me, get out of your mama's basement. But what I will say is that for the average person who barbecues on the weekend, the MasterBuilt is adequate. For people that cook like us, we would prefer higher quality and we're willing to spend the money.
Yeah, but like I said, the thing of it is with the MasterBuilt, it's just the quality. Don't be thinking that you're just because it's the $800 is still a lot of people a lot of money for a grill. It is because they're used to a $200 gas grill or a kettle grill. If you go up, and you can get pellet grills for $400.
I know it's come down a lot.
So if you're spending $800 on something, you think it's going to last a lot longer. It's just not. It's literally $2,000 worth of technology crammed into an $800 piece of junk. So, I mean, the concept's great. I love the food it puts out, but it's just not going to last a long time. So
does a good job. And
I will say this: since I've got the Gravity, I have not touched my pellet grill.
Yeah. Well, it does. It puts out great food. It puts out a better smoke profile. There's a lot of things that it does well. And now that you got a $2,000, MasterBuilt Gravity fed, that's where that should have been initially. That's where they should have built a more quality product, and they still would have sold a bunch of them. They just wouldn't have sold a million of them. They probably would have sold 500,000, but they probably would have made a better profit margin, and they wouldn't have as many sending out parts and customer service problems that they have. So
Scott and I have a MasterBuilt, so I would equate what Scott and I have is we have a Honda Civic with the Mercedes emblem on the front, driving around with the Mercedes emblem on the front on the freaking Honda Civic.
So what's your favorite thing to cook on your pellet grill or your MasterBuilt? I'm sorry,
Scott or me.
Well, since you're yapping, go ahead.
I'm always yapping, man. I'm in New York, of course, and I love ribs. God, I love doing the baby backs. The beef. I'm Jewish. I don't eat pork, right? A little slip of the tongue.
The kosher baby back ribs.
That's right. Beef back ribs. Okay. Of course, Kalbi ribs. Brisket. I love brisket, of course. Mostly all beef. I don't do a lot of chicken on the MasterBuilt. But mostly just ribs and brisket.
Why don't you cook chicken on it?
I'll do occasionally. Like, for example, I'm catering an event on July 2nd, and I've already sous vide the chicken though. Chicken thighs, legs, and breasts. I've got 90 pieces. I have the middle rack. I'm hoping to get all 90 pieces on there. If not, I'm going to fire up my Weber kettle also. I'm hoping to get 90 pieces on the MasterBuilt. So I'm catering an event for family, though. What's that, Scott?
It's not going to happen.
I know. I bought the second shelf. I bought the extended second shelf from LSS. So I'm hoping to at least get 50 pieces on there, maybe. And I also have my big Weber kettle with the 2 levels. So we'll see what happens. I'm optimistic.
What about you, Scott? What's your favorite thing to cook on the MasterBuilt?
Probably reverse searing steaks. That's probably my favorite thing to do.
The 6-ounce version? The 6-ounce versions?
Oh, you're funny. I'm the one in the house.
5 ounce.
Yeah. I did that tri-tip the other day, reverse sear. It came out pretty good.
One of the things when I had my 800, I did a brisket on it and it turned out okay. The only thing I've found, you have to use a very thick, dense charcoal. If you just use briquettes, to do like an 8 or 10 or 12-hour cook, you have to load some charcoal in it eventually. It's not going to be able to cook a whole brisket on one load, unless you're using, like I said, I did use some compressed briquettes, some of those char blocks. They're more of a really tight compressed briquette. They're not really like the Kingsford that you buy at the store. They're kind of specialty, but or lump charcoal, a really dense lump charcoal like the Kamado Joe that's made out of the South American hardwood. Those will last a good long time. The only problem with lump charcoal is that the different sizes kind of makes it where it doesn't fit in there sometimes as well. So you can't put as much in it. But I did find that for longer cooks on that, the hopper is just not big enough to hold enough charcoal. You're going to have to go out and put some more charcoal. Not that it's a pain in the butt. I mean, you can still just load it from the top. That's one of the things I did like about it, is that instead of having to open up a fire door and throw something in, you just put it in the top. But I did like the fact that you could mix your smoking wood in with the charcoal throughout the whole length of the
You stagger it.
Yeah, you stagger it in there the whole length of the fire, or the whole where your charcoal is, and it would continually have that smoke instead of just putting it in the bottom, or throwing it on top like you would on a regular smoker. So
I heard people standing up a log in there and then putting charcoal around it.
That's
you
a
can
lot
do
of work.
that too. And I just don't know, depending on what kind of wood it is. I just don't know how long it would burn. But like I said, I'd cooked some some long, low, and slow stuff on it, and I did some quick stuff. So I did like the fact that you can load it from the top, and as far as operational, I didn't have many issues with it. Like I said, I didn't have many problems with it not connected to Wi-Fi or anything like that. More of my issues was it's just the whole overall quality. It started to rust a little bit. There were some other issues I had here and there. Bend it all up, and just when I put it together and all that. But like I said, I just know it's not something that out of the box, it's not going to last a long time. You do have to put some money into it for it to be something that's going to last a while. So like I said, if you put $2,000 in it, like you guys did, that's really where this thing needed to be a really good quality, going to last you a while product. So
that whole underside where the grease drawer is and all that metal is really, really thin, and those tracks that the drawer slides in, they were all bent up. I had to take pliers and straighten those out to even be able to get the drawer in it.
Well,
Really?
I had leaks too. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I had leaks all the time with grease coming down. It would just go down the side and somehow get out. It would, most of it would get caught in there.
Did you guys foil yours? Put a lot of foil in there? I got foil everywhere. I put foil in.
Well, all right, guys. It's been nice talking to you.
It's great. Hey, I want to say hello to Kevin from his mama's basement. Kevin, hey, how you doing? Get back to cooking.
So what else you guys have to say about the MasterBuilt? Is this something you would buy again? Would you buy it again if it were higher quality product and spend $2,000 on it? Obviously you would if you spent the money.
I would. Better product?
I would probably go a different direction just because I don't know. I think I really want to just build a real fire now for whatever reason.
Buy the M36.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my goal. Get the M36.
I would like the M36, and for me, it's not about the money; it's about the wife.
Yeah,
She divorced me.
The
God!
36 with a controller on it would be pretty awesome.
Oh God. Oh, I love that.
Oh,
I guess you could buy
I use the ThermalWorks on it. I have my ThermalWorks smoke
the
with the
fan.
billows. With the billows.
Does it work? Does it work on the
Yeah.
N36?
It does,
Does
but
it
you
work
can't
well?
you can't use it with a stick burner. You got to put charcoal in the bottom with the word. So you do a hybrid smoke where you put charcoal in and then throw
Wood on
your
top.
logs on top, because you don't want if it was just a wood fire, it wouldn't be able to control it. You need to run full blast the whole time.
So the ThermalWorks billows works well with the M36.
Yeah, there's actually a little there's
Okay.
a spot for it. So
you have the best of both worlds.
yeah. I could use it as a stick burner. I could use it as a charcoal smoker with that. I could use it as a Santa Maria with the charcoal pit that's on the top level that goes up and down. It's got a little searing box on part of it where I can just put charcoal and get it right up close to the grate.
All right,
so
cool.
I mean, it pretty much does everything that you would want it to do, but it does cost some money. I mean, it's built to last. It's one of those things you pass it down to your family, because it's going to last you a long time. I mean,
I take it you're going to hang on to that one. I take it you're going to hang on to that one.
Yeah, it's just too heavy to move. I'm not.
Yeah, it weighs like a few hundred pounds.
It weighs about 800 pounds. So it's 800 pounds.
Dear God.
It's solid. It's solid steel. I mean, thank God it's on wheels. So.
Damn.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. You guys have the experience with the mods. And like I said, we've all had the MasterBuilt. You guys had the mods. So I wanted to just touch base on that, because I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of that. So if they want the mods, all you got to do is type in MasterBuilt mods and you'll get a couple different websites that have those. Like I said, it started a cottage business, just for these grills, that people buy these mods so they could actually make them work well. But thanks again for joining me, Lloyd and Scott.
Hey,
make sure you
check
out the Kosher Dosher. Just type in Kosher Dosher in Google and you'll find his blog, all kinds of cooking. Scott, he doesn't do anything, so don't even type in his name. His name's John anyway. But thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you again. I'm sure talk about some other grilling, smoking, cooking stuff, but I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on the Fire and Water Cooking channel. And guys, I will see you again on the next one.
Enjoy.
Well, thanks again for joining us, guys, on the Fire and Water Cooking podcast. I want to thank Lloyd and Scott again for participating with their experience on the MasterBuilt Gravity series and the mods. Check them out below in the links. You can check out all the mods in the Gravity Built series as well. Thanks for following us on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you check out the Fire and Water Cooking website at www.fireandwatercooking.com. I'll see you again on the next Fire and Water Cooking podcast.